Hey guys, after the disastrous trade change for the past few days, I've been going through a crisis of terror, of fear, because I could only stay off the bed for a short period of time. And suddenly, I was having a tough time breathing. I didn't know what was going on, and I felt like I was choking or rather suffocating. And thankfully, CNA was in the room, and I said, "Go get respiratory, quick, quick," because I felt like I was suffocating. And respiratory came in, put me on the vent, and so for the past few days, instead of just using the vent at night like I usually do, I spent the whole day on the vent. And as each day progressed, and I stayed on the vet longer and longer, I started getting very, very scared, thinking, oh my God, you know, does this mean that I will never come off the vet at some point? Well, is this considered the end of my life? The end of the universe? That they run out of track on the train of infinity? You know, I do want to comment on, or rather, I want to respond to a comment left from my last video when I was talking about Izzy. Okay, I do not have a crush. There was a suggestion that I have a crush on Izzy. I don't. I do not have a crush on Izzy or in love with her or any of that. I thought um, so. I want to make this crystal clear. Okay, Izzy and I go way, way back, almost 7 years, for as long as I've been here. So our working relationship, it's a working relationship between uh, respiratory therapist and patient. Okay, you have, she's got wonderful bedside manner, and that's why she is where she is, which is the supervisor of the respiratory therapist division or department in Summit. Okay, she was hands on for a long time, and eventually she went up the ranks to become supervisor or director of the respiratory therapist department or division. Um, she is very, very good at reducing a chaotic situation. She's got wonderful bedside manner, and no matter how upset I get, she has a wonderful way of calming me down. Okay, I'm autistic, and when chaos sets in, when chaos sets in and I start panicking and freaking out, she has a wonderful way of diffusing the situation and calming me down. If I'm super pissed, she has a wonderful way of calming me down. And it's a chemistry, a working relationship chemistry that she and I have, so that I know I'm in wonderful hands when Izzy is tending to me. Okay, so I just want to diffuse any suggestion about Izzy, the working relationship between she and I. And with a bit of sad news, I learned she's leaving uh, for someplace else. I don't think she's retiring or anything. I don't know where she's going. I know I will miss her, because then who will be my advocate, and who will come along when I freak out over a trait change procedure that goes very wrong, because she was able to calm me down because I was freaking out. I mean, I'm already freaking out with the trait change to begin with, but then when it goes so wrong, I'm like super freaked out. So she has a wonderful way of calming me down. And I am so thankful and blessed that she is around, because let me tell you something, that was a very bad day. And I mean, I hope that never happens again. I pray that that never happens again. So anyway, so at least I wanted to make a video while I can. Okay, while I can. I'm hoping this whole episode is behind me, because because I'm autistic. I need structure and routine and order and organization. And anytime something happens to disturb the routine, chaos sets into my brain. It's like chaos. I need that order, structure, and organization. I need it. So, um, so anyway, I'm hoping and praying that this whole infamous, nefarious, even though that's not a right word to describe it, because there was no nefarious intent. It was just simply a very bad episode, you know. So I'm hoping I can put this all behind me and I can go forward and move forward, you know. So at least I wanted to let you guys know what's been happening over the past few days. And I think what I need to start doing is deep breathing. Because when I'm on the vent, it gives my lungs a chance to rest. And while it's resting, it can get stronger. But if it has too much rest, like the rest of my body had too much rest, the strength will leave. No, my lungs will no longer be strong, and I'll be dependent on the vet. So I don't want that. And I asked Weldon, who is the respiratory therapist, about that. I said, I'm scared if it has too much rest, like my body, will it get weak? And he said, no, not after a few days. A few weeks, maybe, but not after a few days. So I, at least that issue with me has been resolved with that answer. And this morning, it started bad because I have a certain routine. I cough a certain way, and then I'll ah a certain way, you know, strong and clear, and neither happened for a few times, and I was very concerned about that. And then as moments continued, I coughed again, and each time I coughed, it got stronger, and my ahs got better. And what I think I could say, there's a whole lot of mucus and junk that's still in my lungs after that whole episode. And the more I cough out that mucus and junk, I coughed out a lot of dry blood. There was a lot of dry blood in my lungs. And that was basically why I was having trouble. And every time they suctioned me, they were suctioning a lot of dry blood. And over the past 72 hours, I would ask, is there more blood? He said, no, there's no blood. There's a lot of yellow junk that's still in there. And I would cough out a lot of junk. And some of the junk is usually light yellow, and then some is like mustard colored, like a dark mustard color. And just this morning, I coughed out a big chunk of mustard color. So there was a little bit of infection that was in there, and I coughed out a little bit more of that infection. So I'm more relaxed. I'm more optimistic. I'm not scared that I got a little better perspective on this, and that I'm coughing out infection and whatever else was in my lungs still. And the more I cough out, the better and stronger my lungs will get. What I need to do in the meantime is do a lot of deep breathing, keep me calm, of course, and to keep my breathing consistent. So that's my homework for now. That's what I call it, homework. Okay, guys. So I just wanted to give you that update. So thanks for watching. Thanks for listening again. All right. I'll talk to you guys later. See you soon. Take care.